Hello, Math Stars. This is the first video to start to review the review packet that the fifth grade teacher sent home. These are the skills that we will be going over, and I will make the videos in this order. On the cover slide of each of the videos, we'll show what page numbers in the booklet go to each of these skills. You're going to find more than one page covers each of the skills, but they're not necessarily in order. So the first thing you're going to have to do is you're going to have to unnumber your booklet. So the back of the cover sheet is page 1, and then page 2, and all the way to the end, and you should get to page 90. If you don't get to page 90, then double check, you may have made a mistake along the way. Okay, so page 90, start with number 1, which is the back of the cover, and then go ahead all the way to 90. That will help us be able to follow the video better and move through the booklet quicker. So the first skill we're going to cover is multiplication. What all the teachers are saying about multiplication is you need to memorize your multiplication facts. If you have not mastered your facts yet, okay, then make sure you get on reflex every single day. If you don't remember your login, then contact your teacher and she'll get your login for you. You can find, maybe this is still in your backpack from previous in the year, or you can find these multiplication charts online. You have to study your facts. Another way to study multiplication is by repeat addition or skip counting. Just make lists of the numbers all the way to the 12th number, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, and so on. Do that for each of the numbers. Repeating that skip counting over and over again will help that memorization and make the connection to your multiplication facts. It is a must that you memorize these before moving on to 5th grade. Now, the first activity in your book is a multiplication page where you answer the questions. Whatever your answer is, you try to find your answer on the whale, so it is self-checking. The first activity, though, is some pretty big multiplication numbers. So I'm going to use a smaller sheet of numbers of multiplication problems to review the skill of multiplication in case you need some practice with the basic steps first. So I would ask that if you want to pause the video and copy these problems down or solve the problems first and then check your work when I go over them, that is an option, or you can just watch me all the way through. So just to review the steps of multiplication. Okay. Remember, you always start on the right-hand side. Okay. You go up first. We're going to go 8 times 2 is 16. Okay. When you have a double-digit number, okay, you have to put the ones column with what you're multiplying, and you carry the 1 over to the next column. Okay. It's very important that you write your carry. So 8 times 2 is 16. I put down the 6. I carry the 1. We are not done with the 8 yet. We have to move across. Okay. 8 times 9 is 72, plus 1 is 73. So I put down my 3 and I put down my 7. There's no other digit here, so I don't need to carry. Okay. So now I'm all done with my 8. But now I'm going to multiply in the tens place. Okay. If I multiply in the tens place, my answer has to start in the tens place. Therefore, I use a placeholder to remind myself to move over. Now we start all the way back at the right. I go 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 9 is 18. I have no other digit, so I don't have to carry. I write my whole 18, and then I add. 6 plus 0 is 6. 4 plus 3 is 7. 8 plus 7 is 15. Carry my 1. And it's 2. And my answer is 2,576. Okay, just to review, every time you move over to a different multiplier, you have to then move over when you are writing your products. Okay, let's do problem 2. I should number these problems. It's always good to number them to stay organized. Okay, so on to problem 2. We multiply up. 7 times 4 is 28. I put down my 8. I carry my 2. Right. 7 times 8 is 56, plus 2 is 58. Put down my 8. I carry my 5. I'm sorry, put down my 5 as well. There's nothing to carry because there's no other digits. Multiplying in my tens place, therefore my answer has to start in the tens place. I use a placeholder to remind myself to move over. 3 times 4 is 12. I put down my 2. I carry my 1. You can cross off your old carry. Okay. 3 times 8 is 24, plus 1 is 25. I have no other digits, so therefore I don't have to carry the 2. I can write it right down. And then I add. 8 plus 0 is 8. 8 plus 2 is 10. I put down my 0. I carry my 1. 5 plus 5 is 10. Plus 1 is 11. Carry my 1. And that's a 3. Okay? So my answer is 3,108. Okay. The next problem, 6 times 4 is 24. Put down my 4, carry my 2. 6 times 7 is 42, plus 2 is 44. I can put down the 4 because there's no other number to carry. Multiply in the tens place, therefore my answer has to start in the tens place. I use a 0 to push my answer over to remind me to start in the tens place. Go back over to this corner. 5 times 4 is 20. I put down my 0, I carry my 2. You can cross off the old carry, put your new carry. 5 times 7 is 35, plus 2 is 37. And then I add. 4 plus 0 is 4. 4, 11. Carry my 1 and 4. 4,144. So what I would like you to do for this next problem, I'm going to work through the steps, and I would like you to say the steps over. While you're watching this, I want you to narrate for yourself, what am I doing? If you need to, rewind to look at one of these 3 sample problems of how I'm talking through the movements of the problem. So you can talk yourself through this problem, okay? How did you do with that? Okay, I will talk through this problem, and then you can narrate this problem for yourself. So pay attention to the math language that I'm using. Okay, I'm going to multiply. We're going to go 6 times 4 is 24. I put down my 4. I carry my 2. 4 times 5 is 20, plus 2 is 22. There's no other number to carry, so I can write it down here. I multiply in my tens place. I'm all done with the ones. I multiply in my tens place. My answer has to start in the tens place. I use a placeholder to remind myself to move over. 8 times 6 is 48. I put down the 8. I carry my 4. I can cross off my old carry. 8 times 5 is 40, plus 4 is 44. There's no other carry, so I can write the whole number down. And now I add. 4 plus 0 is 4. 2 plus 8 is 10. 4 plus 2 is 6. Plus 1 is 7. And 4. My answer is 4,704. Okay, I'm going to work through the steps of this one, and I want you to narrate and talk through the steps as I am working. How did you do with that? Are you using the math language? I hope so. For the last 3 problems, I'm just going to write the answers down. So you can work through these 3 problems on your own, and you can check your answer. This is what the final answer is going to be. 1,596, 1,653, 4,028. Okay, so now I want to move on to, I want to kind of do a middle step. So we did 2 digits by 2 digits. Before we get to 3 digits by 3 digits, I would just like to practice a couple of these 3 digits by 2 digit problems. So again, if you want to work through some of these, pause the video now so you can see the problems, or copy the problems down, and then when you're ready to work, you can restart it. Okay, ready? 2 times 4 is 8. I'm always going to keep moving over. 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times 2 is 4. The same thing. I'm going to start with the tens place, so I use a placeholder to remind myself to move over. I'm all done with the 2 now, so now I return back, but with my second multiplier. 1 times 4 is 4. 1 times 3 is 3. 1 times 2 is 2. And then I add. And I have 2,808. Okay, 1 times 2 is 2, 1 times 3 is 3, 1 times 4 is 4. I move over because I have a second multiplier. 2 times 2 is 4, 2 times 3 is 6, 2 times 4 is 8. Again, while I work through the steps, you can narrate and repeat what I am doing. Okay, 1 times 5 is 5, 1 times 3 is 3, 1 times 1 is 1. Multiply in the tens place. I have to start in the tens place. Use my placeholder to remind me to move over. I'm done with my 1, moving on to my 2 multiplier, and I start all the way to the right again. 2 times 5 is 10, 3 times 2 is 6, plus your carry is 7, 2 times 1 is 2. And then I add my 2 products to come up with my answer. My answer is 2,835. Now you narrate for me as I'm working through the steps. A neat thing to say to remember when you have to put your commas in: cha, 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 kick. Cha, 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 kick. Cha, 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 kick. This reminds you where your comma goes. And our last 3 problems down here. 3, 6, 21. 1 times 1 is 1. 1 times 2 is 2. 1 times 7 is 7. I hope you can tell me, why did I put a 0 here? And why did I start my answer here? Right? Whenever you start multiplying, when you move over and multiplying, your answer has to start in the place value that you're multiplying in. I start in the tens place, my answer has to be in the tens place. Okay? You narrate. Cha, 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 kick. And our last problem. 2 times 1 is 2. 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times 2 is 4. My placeholder to remind me to move over. 3 times 1 is 3. 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 2 is 6. Add. Cha, 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 kick. Now, I do make mistakes, so if you have mistakes on this page, you can feel free to let me know. Okay. So now you will be ready to tackle this page. I'm not going to complete all of the page with you, but I will do several of them, and then you can check the answer key. I will be scanning the answer key to this whole booklet in very shortly, and you will be able to get that booklet on the answers on Google Classroom. Okay, so now we don't have boxes, so you have to work very, very carefully to make sure your numbers are lined up. Okay, I'm going to zoom in a little bit and adjust my paper a little quicker, a little closer. It's very important that you keep your numbers all lined up. Okay, now on the first page we had to only move over to the tens place, but now we're going to have to move over twice. Okay, 1 times 6 is 6. 1 times 2 is 2. 1 times 5 is 5. Okay, I'm going to multiply in the tens place, so my answer has to start in the tens place. So I'm going to be right under my tens place. Include my placeholder to remind me not to have the numbers move over. Okay, 1 times 6 is 6. 1 times 2 is 2. 1 times 5 is 5. Okay, now I'm starting in the hundreds place. So my answer has to start in the hundreds place. Therefore, I need 2 placeholders. And I always return back to the right-hand side. 1 times 6 is 6. 1 times 2, 1 times 6, 1 times 2 is 2. 1 times 5 is 5. Now, with no lines, this can get very confusing. So you have to make sure that everything stays in line. I have 6. 2 plus 6 is 8. 5 plus 2 is 7. Plus 6 is 13. 5, 6, 7, 8, and 5. Cha, 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 kick. 58,386. Okay, I'll walk you through another one. Now this one's, oh, I'm going to move it over. Sorry about that. This one can get a little tricky because we have a 0. Okay, that doesn't mean you just skip over the place. We still have to account for it in our placeholder. Okay, 8 times 7 is 56. I'm going to put down my 6, carry the 5. 7 times 9, so we went up first, now we go over. 7 times 9 is 63, plus 5 is 68. I put down my 8, I carry my 6. 7 times 4 is 28, plus 6 is 34. Okay, so now I'm ready to go to my tens place. Here's my tens place. Okay, 0 times 8 is 8. 0 times 9 is 0. I'm sorry, 0 times 8 is 0. 0 times 9 is 0. 0 times 4 is 0. Okay, so a whole bunch of zeros, but you can't skip that. You have to still include that. Okay, so now I'm going to multiply in the hundreds place. Ones, tens, hundreds. My answer has to start in the hundreds place. Okay, that means I need 2 placeholders to remind myself to go to the hundreds place. And again, I return all the way to the right. 1 times 8 is 8. 1 times 9 is 9. 1 times 4 is 4. We add 6, 8, 12, 13, 5. Cha, 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 kick. 53,286. Okay, and there we go for that. So I am going to show you the answers for the rest of these problems. Okay, so you can complete your page and then you can come back and check your answers. The 3 word problems on the bottom, I'm going to come back to these problems a little bit further down in the lessons when we get to the word problem section. Okay, so this was your review on how to multiply multi-digit numbers. Whenever you do more practice when it comes to multiplication, rewatch this video. The steps will always remain the same no matter what the multiplication problem is, so you can watch this video as many times as possible. Thank you so much, and we will see you for the next video.